Hi. It's Halloween time, and that means we have to talk about the most common thing that comes up in October. I don't mean costumes, and I don't mean wearing helmets and masks. This month, we're going to talk about fear. I love Deadpool as a character. One of my favorites from the comic books, right? A bit irreverent, comical even. And all of the movies that sort of depict superheroes in a way like this, very human, very real, present something about fear that we can all learn from. It's Halloween. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. We get to be a kid again. We get to play up the charade of it all. But there's also some really important stuff that we got to talk about around the concept of Halloween. We got to talk about fear. Just a week and a half ago, I led a retreat in Chicago with a group called GoBundance Emerge. And the Emerge group was about 50 people. In that conference, one of the biggest themes that we had to talk about was fear. And here's the reality. If you are pursuing some big stuff, if you're tackling large objectives, if you've got massive ambition, you've got fear. And that's okay. That's normal. It's actually abnormal to think that you don't have fear. But what we need to understand is why fear is important and what it can teach us. If you don't have fear, you don't need courage. And if you don't need courage, you aren't pursuing something beyond you. It's really important to know this. For you listening right now, if you are not wildly afraid of what you're pursuing, it's not big enough. That is a really important thing to keep in mind. But let's talk about where this shows up, because not often do we have the space to dig in. Fear will come up if your business is growing and you need to hire. Maybe it's growing and you need to fire. You'll find that as you step into leading an organization, not just yourself and a partner, as you lead a team dynamics matter. You might be afraid of what it means to have multiple people on the payroll and them rely on you for their lifestyle and their support and their family. I can remember the first time I had a $20,000 payroll, looking at what needed to be produced, what we needed to make happen, what kind of responsibility was on my shoulders. I was wildly afraid of that. And you might be too. Maybe you're afraid to get there because of what it will mean for you. And that's a rational fear. You might think that added accountability or the need to produce, whether it's for your family or for others, comes with fear. You might feel that as you climb the ladder and produce more and your enterprise expands, that now there's a whole lot of pressure on you. And that can create fear. So maybe you don't pursue more. Maybe you are afraid to say no. Maybe you're afraid to let go or delegate tasks that have been yours for a long time. Maybe there's a fear around committing to a whole new partnership. That could be a relationship, a romantic one. That could be a business partnership. That could be hiring a vendor, hiring a trainer, hiring a coach like us. That could be a lot of things. There's fear involved in growth. When we encounter fear, the thing to remember is that fear is actually an indicator of a future pursuit and of a noble pursuit. Let's assume that you have noble intentions, but if you are pursuing something that encourages you to grow, does good for you, for the world, for your clients, your customers, then I think that fear is a really important indicator. It indicates that you're moving the right direction. We want to move towards our fear. And here's why I think Halloween and just the month of October is really interesting. We put banners everywhere with scary things. Scary shit is everywhere, right? We see ghouls and goblins and skeletons. We have villains that are kind of like celebrated. We have houses that are decorated to be spooky and inspire fear. Well, what is it about Halloween that allows us to think about fear differently in a healthy way, in a playful way? If I think back to the origins of Halloween, here's what I've learned. Halloween has a lot of origins. And I spent a lot of time looking up all the different places that history lurks when it comes to this holiday. But here's a common theme. Whether it was the celebration of the dead and the passing, whether it was the transition from harvest into winter, almost all of the folklore around Halloween suggests one common theme. And that theme is change. Change is scary. And if you can imagine being a farmer in ancient times, knowing that the winter is coming, you're probably afraid every year. If you think about when the church adopted the holiday, which was largely like 43 AD, 45 AD, somewhere around there, there was a lot of change happening this time of year. And celebration of the dead, letting them go and even honoring them, meant change. You had lost, you had suffered, you had gone through a sequence of surrender in many ways to something bigger than you. This idea of change being scary is very confounding to me. And part of the reason is I think we deeply seek it. You probably seek it. Don't you want change? Don't you want more? Don't you want to travel more and adventure more and make more money, right? Isn't that what we talk about? And yet when we recognize that more is change, well, then it gets really interesting because change might not be as appealing, and it might come with fear. If fear is an indicator of growth, and this idea of Halloween is a great reminder of what it means to let go, then the question becomes, what can you let go of so that you get more of what you want? What do you need to cut? What do you need to eliminate? What do you need to remove? We've talked about saying no before, but this is different. Now we're talking about using fear as a catalyst to get the more that you want. Now we're talking about how our desires and our wants and our expansion as individuals, as business owners, as enterprising entrepreneurs actually needs fear, just like a calendar year needs a Halloween. Can you imagine if every holiday was just nice, neat, sharp, subtle, positive? We need a Halloween, right? It breaks the routine. It allows us to get back to being a kid and playing again. It's also great for all of us to take account of what our fears are. We've got a great tool here that will help you get clear on some of the fears that surround your goals. When I think of my goals, there's a lot of fear attached to it. Am I good enough? The natural question. Do I have what it takes to survive at that level? Do I have what it takes to build and grow and nurture an organization? Can I lead a team of 35? Can I create and produce enough on the sales side to support that? Can I let go of the tasks that I'm doing so that I can go to the next level? Can someone share the mission just as well as I do? Not to mention the tactical things that get in the way. How do we launch a podcast? How do we build a mission? How do we hire? How do we fire? How do we host team events if we're so busy hosting everyone else's team events? There's a ton of fear that goes into that. That dream scares me. And in fact, as I think about the mission here at Get Out of Your Own Way, which you're a part of, I'm almost paralyzed by the amount of fear. And maybe your dreams paralyze you too. It's a good place to start. The tool we have will help you outline your big, scary goal. And then we'll help you understand what are the components that you need and what are the fears attached to it, and who do you need to lean on to help you get through this? But here's what I know. I know for you and for me, if we follow those fears, instead of running from them, like we would follow the scary decorations on Halloween. Those are the houses that always have the best candy, by the way. If we follow that, we end up closer to the destination day by day by day. Chasing that fear then becomes a path, a behavior, a habit for us. And when you lean into fear, what you tend to find is that it's all made up. It's not real. It's fabricated to keep you safe, not to help you grow. And if you just this month can lean into that fear for just a moment, just trust me a little bit and say, fear, you and I are going through this and we're going to do it together. I'm going to do it afraid. I'm going to do it scared. You might find the change and growth is on the other side of that fear. There's a quote, it's been attributed to many people. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. This month, we're getting to that other side. Download the tool, take some time to assess your big goal, get out and enjoy your Halloween. And as you do, remember to lean into that fear. If you need help, reach out. We've got some amazing programs and retreats scheduled through the rest of the year where we will walk you to the destination, your big hairy goal. Whether you're afraid or not, you will have someone walking side by side with you. But know that regardless of whether or not you come to one of our programs, every single month we're getting one of these newsletters. We've got big things coming your way in 2024. It might rhyme with the word SMODcast, and it's going to be just for you. We are so excited to be here, to be with you, and to walk with you across your fears. Happy Halloween.